Valentino, the Last Emperor. A graded reader, Level B1. Chapter 1, A Boy from Voghera. Valentino Garavani was born in 1932 in Voghera, Italy. Voghera is a quiet town in the north of the country. Even as a young child, Valentino loved beautiful things. While other boys were playing football in the street, he was busy drawing dresses. He was obsessed with the cinema and the glamorous actresses on the big screen. He spent hours looking at the elegant costumes in Hollywood movies. He knew that he did not want to stay in a small town forever. He felt that his future was waiting for him in a place where art and style were everywhere. His parents saw his great talent and decided to support his ambition. They let him study fashion design and French in Milan. However, Valentino had a much bigger dream in mind. He wanted to go to the true fashion capital of the world, Paris. Chapter 2, The Paris Years. At the age of 17, Valentino moved to Paris alone. It was a very exciting time for a young and hungry designer. The city was full of creativity and new ideas after the war. He studied at the famous École des Beaux-Arts to perfect his drawing skills. He also learned the secrets of high fashion while working for the designer Jean Desses. Desses taught him how to create elegant shapes and use expensive, soft fabrics. Later, he worked for Guy Laroche, where he learned about modern style. In Paris, Valentino discovered something that would change his life and his brand forever. One night at the opera, he saw a woman wearing a magnificent red dress. The color was so vibrant and powerful that he could not look away. He decided that one day, red would be his signature color. He was learning very fast, but he eventually started to miss his home country. Chapter 3, Returning to Rome. In 1959, Valentino decided it was time to return to Italy. He did not go back to his small hometown in the north. Instead, he chose Rome, which people called the Eternal City. Rome was becoming a center for cinema and glamour in those years. With the financial help of his father, he opened his first fashion house on Via Condotti. It was a very expensive and risky move for a young man. Valentino wanted his shop to be exactly like the great fashion houses in Paris. He used the best materials and hired the most talented tailors he could find. However, the beginning was not as easy as he expected. He spent a lot of money on beautiful decorations and fine fabrics, and the business began to struggle. He was a great artist, but he found it difficult to manage the money. He needed a miracle to keep his dream alive and his doors open. Chapter 4, A Perfect Partnership. In 1960, Valentino met a young architecture student named Giancarlo Giametti. They met by chance at a cafe on the famous Via Veneto. They quickly realized that they shared the same vision for the future of fashion. Valentino was a creative genius, but Giametti was a brilliant businessman. Giametti decided to leave his studies to join Valentino's company. Together, they built a fashion empire that would last for many decades. This partnership allowed Valentino to focus entirely on his creative designs. He didn't have to worry about the bills or the bank accounts anymore. He could focus all his energy on making women look like goddesses. Their relationship was the foundation of the brand's incredible success. Slowly, the elite women of Rome started to notice the talented young designer. They loved his elegant style and his perfect attention to every small detail. Chapter 5, The White Collection. By the mid-1960s, Valentino was becoming a famous name in Italy. In 1962, he had a very successful show at the Pitti Palace in Florence. But his biggest international moment arrived in 1968. He launched a collection that surprised the entire fashion world. At a time when fashion was full of bright, psychedelic colors, Valentino did something different. He created the No Colors collection. Every single dress in the show was white, cream, or sand. It was a massive success because it looked so sophisticated, clean, and modern. The collection proved that simplicity can be more powerful than many colors. During this time, he also met Jacqueline Kennedy, the former First Lady of the United States. She was so impressed that she became his most famous and loyal client. She even chose to wear a Valentino dress for her wedding to Aristotle Onassis. Valentino was no longer just an Italian designer, he was now an international superstar. Chapter 6: The Signature Red. While that white collection brought him fame, there was one color that defined his career. That color became known as Valentino Red. It is a very specific mix of bright red, orange, and pink. Valentino believed that red was the only color that could compete with black and white. He said that a woman in a red dress is always confident and powerful. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the red dress became his trademark. Every time he finished a fashion show, the final dress on the runway was usually red. It represented passion, energy, and Italian style. Rich and famous women from all over the world wanted to own a Valentino red piece. It was not just a dress, it was a symbol of belonging to a world of high class. Even today, when people see that specific shade of red, they immediately think of him. The color remains one of the most recognizable things in the history of fashion. Chapter 7: Hollywood and the Oscars. Valentino's success was not limited to Europe. He became the favorite designer for many Hollywood stars. In the 1990s and early 2000s, his dresses were seen on every major red carpet. When an actress wore Valentino to the Academy Awards, she was almost certain to be on the best-dressed list. He dressed legends like Elizabeth Taylor, Sophia Loren, and later, Julia Roberts. In 2001, Julia Roberts won an Oscar while wearing a vintage black and white Valentino dress. This moment was very important because it showed that his designs were timeless. A dress from 20 years ago still looked modern and beautiful. Valentino understood how to make women look elegant without being too provocative. He respected the female form and used the best fabrics to create soft, feminine lines. The stars loved him because he made them feel like the most beautiful version of themselves. He was not just a designer to them, he was a dear friend. Chapter 8: A Life of Luxury. Valentino did not just design luxury, he lived it. His lifestyle was as famous as his clothes. He owned several incredible homes, including a castle in France and a villa in Rome. He traveled the world in a private jet and spent time on his large, beautiful yacht. He was always surrounded by his famous pet pugs, which traveled everywhere with him. Valentino believed that beauty should be part of every moment of life. His dinner parties were famous for their perfect decorations and fine porcelain. However, he never forgot that his success came from hard work and discipline. Even though he enjoyed his wealth, he spent most of his time in his studio. He was a perfectionist who checked every single button and seam. He expected his staff to have the same high standards that he had. To Valentino, fashion was a serious business that required total dedication. Chapter 9: The Final Bow. In 2007, Valentino announced that he was ready to retire. He had spent almost 50 years at the top of the fashion industry. To celebrate his career, he organized a massive 3-day event in Rome. Famous people, royalty, and designers from all over the world came to honor him. The highlights included a spectacular fashion show near the ancient Colosseum. It was a moment of great emotion for the last emperor of fashion. In 2008, he presented his final haute couture show in Paris. At the end of the show, all the models wore identical red dresses to say goodbye. The audience stood up and cheered for several minutes with tears in their eyes. Valentino smiled and waved, knowing that he had achieved everything he wanted. He left his company in the hands of new designers, but his spirit remained. Even in retirement, he continued to be an influential figure in the art world. Chapter 10: The Legacy of the Emperor. Today, the Valentino brand is still one of the most successful in the world. After he left, talented designers like Pierpaolo Piccioli continued his work. They kept the brand modern while respecting the original style of the founder. The company now sells not only dresses but also shoes, bags, and perfumes. The famous V logo is a symbol of quality and Italian excellence everywhere. Valentino's influence can be seen in the work of many younger designers. He taught the world that elegance is never out of fashion. He also showed that a strong partnership, like the one he had with Giametti, is essential for success. His archives in Rome are a museum of beauty for students and fashion lovers. Valentino Garavani is more than just a man, he is a legend. He proved that with talent and a clear vision, a boy from a small town can color the world red. His story continues to inspire anyone who dreams of creating something beautiful. The end.